would like to thank SICOP Italy, Mrs. Nina Avramidou, Mrs. Maria Rita Moroso, Mr. Lúcio Gomes Machado, and fellow panelists. It's a privilege to present my curatorship at São Paulo Lyceum of Arts and Crafts here in BRAU5, along with friends co-curator Beatriz Bueno, Mirza Pedicciota, and assistant curator Fernanda Bittencourt. The object of this presentation comprises hair material pieces, bibliographical and artistic artifacts remaining in the Lyceum collections, indicating brief but important clues of rich and strong cultural ties that have permeated our history. We will call upon visual representations to show tangible evidences of shared cultural inheritances through the late 19th and the second half of 20th centuries. The 1800s period was historicist, eclectic, and enthusiastic of the technical triumph, supporting material and aesthetic object circulation, access and exhibition. The 19th century has established an original cycle of technological innovations, carrying new forms of cosmopolitan sociability. Novelties that placed artistic, scientific, educational practices and transfers in point. Founded in 1873 as a school of popular instruction in São Paulo state capital, the Lyceum of Arts and Crafts has become the most prestigious teaching institute of applied arts in Brazil. The school was erected by paradigmatic figures such as the engineer-architects Francisco de Paula Ramos de Azevedo and Ricardo Severo, relying on a teaching staff formed by educators and foreign masters who articulated the dialogue between tradition and the praxis of their time. They trained countless generations of artisans, apprentices, and workers from different professions, most of them children of immigrants. From 1900 and the 1940s, the school was headquartered in a monumental neoclassic style building designed by Domiciano Rossi and Ramos de Azevedo, today the main office of Pinacoteca do Estado. The school kept its industrial organism active until 1980 in mansory sheds covered by porticos in metallic structures 3 blocks away from the head office. There were workshops in carpentry and joinery, woodwork, wood carving, metalwork, modeling, metal artifacts, foundry, boiler making, mechanics, and complementary arts. The 80-meter-long shed that housed the artistic locksmith workshop still maintains its original features. Yet the shed needs interventions on the central nave's roof, supported by ingot shears, as well on the longitudinal illumination panels that flank it. The combination of precise decorative art models of all styles and shapes, allied with the quality of the worked materials and powerful pedagogical devices, guaranteed a high degree of technical development in the architecture and artistic objects manufactured by the workshops. Through the expansion of industrial capital, science went hand in hand with industry and art. State-supported educational reforms are engrossed by industrialists, professionals, skilled craftsmen, and other social actors in order to form a drawing and machine-building-oriented elite. Printed books, journals, Didactic scientific modes plus supplies meant for know-how and design teaching were widely disseminated. Back in those days, the school form and its artifacts, including bibliographical specimens and artistic pieces, were homogenized. The same objects and school titles used in the teaching of arts and crafts circulated in São Paulo and elsewhere. Between 1860 and 1940, there was a plentiful international transit of manuals, repertoires, style guides, magazines, printed boards, books, and so on. They were published by different libraries and specialized European and North American publishing houses, responsible for the making of know-how catalogs, samples of precepts, systems and types taught in eclectic lessons. Beautifully designed and printed, they were addressed to anyone who dealt with and was interested in arts integrated into architecture. The number of remnants, manuals, repertoires, magazines, and guides related to the French and Italian publishers is striking. Here is a sample of an Italian style guide and a magazine specialized in industrial art. Italian publishing houses, especially Milanese, include major publishers such as Casa Editrice Dottor Francesco Vallardi, who belongs to a family of editors, writers, and typographers, active since 1750 until today. From Torino are, among others, books of Società Italiana di Edizioni Artistici Crudo, and from Florence, Giuseppe Giotti Editore. Amongst the visual teaching resource, the printed boards are extraordinary. Acquired handmade, they form organized collections of interrelated printed plates linked to each other, made of figures, texts, graphs, and progressively developed themes, emphasizing central topics of school subjects. The picture illustrates the European origins of these remarkable accessories. Considered objects of know-how memory, the bibliographical and artistic pieces inspired the invention. They also evidencing deep homologies among the intellectual circles of Paris, São Paulo, Vienna, Buenos Aires, Genoa, Chicago, Berlin, and other capitals. The Lyceum collections carry signs of repertoires production, circulation, and models exchanged from both sides of the Atlantic. When we compare the existing representations in the style guides and the results of made-to-order production, the model's transpositions are easily recognizable. The Lyceum Gypsum library was impressive. Here we can see some of its large pieces, 4 of them copies of Michelangelo works, displayed at the Cultural Center in the 1980s. Sometime between 1900 and 1920s, the Lyceum acquired its Gypsotheca, a collection of plaster sculptures and architectural models available in experimental learning sessions, and especially in the drawing classes where the principle of repetition from the canons prevailed, sustaining the fundamental role of copying in artistic teaching. The statuary copies and models types in the Gypsum library reproduced the original masterpieces of Western European museums in Paris, Rome, London, Florence, and Naples. The specimens classified by director Ricardo Severo in 1934 embraced ancient art, Oriental art, Middle Ages, Byzantine art, Renaissance art, modern art, and contemporary art, totalizing about 270 items. Severo divided the collection into groups of plaster reproductions and contemporary domestic and foreign sculptures, with originals, life-size models, and items related to architecture and ornamental coins. Some of the precursory pieces, like these ones, did not remain in the current set. At this very moment, the collection is being recatalogued. Hardly anything was said about the Lyceum plaster collection between Severo's classification and now. It's not known exactly which items survived the hard quarters fires of 1938 and 1945. However, 28 plaster pieces composed the Sound and Light show Art is Humanism, which inaugurated the institution's cultural center in the 1980s. That space, installed in a shed on João Teodoro Street, where the old carpentry workshop used to be, functioned until the year 2000, when it was closed for public visitation. In 2014, a fire destroyed the center, burning pieces of furniture and major part of the gypsum pieces presented in the show. The building has been redefined. The copy of the Via Michelangelo and 7 more plaster pieces were restored. Since 2018, they are present at History and Memory exhibition in the new Cultural Center. Among the large copies, the works Laocoonte by Apollonius of Rhodes, Day, Night, Dawn, Dusk, and Moses by Michelangelo are severely damaged. Like other outstanding injury specimens, they are vulnerable, awaiting actions and funds that might move them from the imminent frontier of disappearance. Our quest is to understand not only the Lyceum cutting-edge pedagogical resources, such as the specialized library and the sensitive collection of gypsum, but the cultural agency which they did. The Lyceum collection seemed capable of creating a scintillant picture from the material culture and cultural landscape regarding São Paulo's urban environment. Being considered as melting pots of simultaneities, the artifacts may help us to establish other reference in retrieving the city's architectural patrimony. Many thanks.